The Committee on Homeland Security will
Chair
come to
now
order.
recognizes the gentlelady from South Carolina, Ms. Biggs.
Thank you, Chairman Guest, and thank you to our witnesses for your patience today. This hearing is important, and I think it's crucial that we know the role that the NGOs played in the invasion of our country. While the Biden administration opened the doors, the NGOs fueled the invasion. They provided or coordinated transportation to the interior of the country, along with food, shelter, legal fees, and more, all with your tax dollars. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to submit for the record this piece of the Free Press titled "Nonprofits Are Making Billions Off the Border Crisis."
Without objection, it shall be entered into the record.
So Global Refuge, one of these Trojan horses, listed $202 million in revenue in 2022, up from $50 million in 2018, which is 86% of that money came directly from the taxpayers. Another organization, which we've already talked about today, Endeavor, received 99.6% of its revenue from taxpayers. And these groups made profits by forcing us to pay for the invasion of our own country. So my first question, and I would really like to leave it open for any of you to please feel free to comment, but it's kind of simple. How many illegals did these bad actors bring in? And how much of our hard-earned tax dollars did they spend? And did they even attempt to determine if any of the illegals that flooded our homeland were violent criminals?
Congresswoman, what I'll say is that it's also not just the unaccompanied minors that were processed through. There wasn't DNA testing being done with family units who were being presented and turning themselves over to Border Patrol. So there were quote-unquote family units that these NGOs also helped and processed. But you ask any border official, any border enforcement, they'll tell you that they rent kids out to act as family units, or they're trafficking these kids as family units. So I know, understandably, we're talking a lot about the unaccompanied minors, and that should definitely have a big focus, but we also can't forget the fake family units that took advantage of the Biden administration not doing DNA testing to ensure that those were actual families.
That was a very good question. Thank you so much for that. Between the ports of entry, it's really hard to determine how many bad actors and criminal networks came into the interior of the country during the Biden-Harris administration. I know it's frustrating to hear that we keep mentioning the Biden-Harris administration, but when you have over 300,000 children that went missing under that administration, it is worth asking because they are still missing. With these criminal networks, we worked with other nonprofit in California. Again, we're not against nonprofits. We are against the ones that take taxpayer dollars and mismanage the funds and abuse the funds, to reiterate for the record. But they found numerous cell phones of smugglers. The GOAT initiative works with local law enforcement and turns over cell phones that include data as far as how to obtain a child once you're in the United States, what pathways to take, and even include the nuclear posture of the United States. These are not your average construction worker. And when you say they have no criminal background, please understand that might be in the United States. You don't know where they came from, their country of origin, what their criminal background was in their country of origin, on top of the fact that when they had their false documents, if their documents said Mickey Mouse, that is what Border Patrol wrote down. So how do we know what their backgrounds truly are from their home countries when we did no meaningful checking of the false documents that they provided to our agencies? Thank you.
Congresswoman, to answer the heart of your question, I think it's virtually all of the illegals that were released into the interior. Just like it's virtually impossible for an illegal to get to the southern border without going through cartel custody, it is virtually impossible for the illegals, once they are released, to not reap a direct or indirect benefit from the nonprofit system. That's why this is so detestable. They had built a system on parallel with the cartels. The NGOs and the Biden administration operated as the final chain in the link of this human smuggling, not only of children, but of everyone who came illegally.
Thank you very much. It's very disheartening, and I appreciate your insight on this. And with that, I yield back.